when the data a special operator needs gets to where that operator needs it, that operator needs to trust that the data is accurate. Military leaders already see examples of data spoofing, especially GPS spoofing. Egon Rinderer is Chief Technology Officer at Shift5. I ask him how GPS spoofing impacts the SOF community and what defenses exist to mitigate the threat.
Yeah, and I would say it actually goes well beyond even just positioning, but from that perspective, obviously we need to know where we're at in relation to where we want to be, where our gear is, where it's scattered across the globe, because we in a very real way have a supply chain constraint issue when it comes to the equipment that these folks need to use and where they need to get it to and when it needs to be there. That's all obviously very reliant on highly accurate positioning. It goes well beyond. I think a lot of people's mind goes to I'm in an airplane or in a car and I need to know where I'm at in relation to destination or something. What I think gets overlooked quite a bit is the requirements for things like high precision timing, the other things that GNSS and GPS bring to the table. What you're seeing more recently is a weaponization of GPS spoofing, and that includes not just the positioning telemetry signal, but also the timing signal. And I think people, they understand that when it comes to things that move, right? An aircraft, a ground vehicle, that sort of thing. Where it tends to get lost a little bit is the fact that things like radar systems and EW systems, communication systems, cell phone networks, cross-country and global fiber networks, high-frequency trading, the stock market, all use GPS signals for precision timing. That's all vulnerable to the same attacks that we're seeing pretty heavily used by the Russians and other foreign nation states today. So it is well beyond needing to know where we're at and getting into the landscape of warfare that impacts the individual in a very real way. And so what we've really tried to do is bring to the table an early warning system that is extensible. Today, that looks like the identification of an attack. What we want to do, though, over time is build on that and start to be able to do things like attribution and heat mapping and some more valuable capabilities so that when the warfighter is in a particular area, they understand who the adversary is that's actually throwing that attack at them.
Something that you said there that went off in my mind is as I read about this issue, a lot of the material that's out there revolves around, to use myself as an example, where I am. You talked about the necessity to know where my stuff is, right, and when it's going to get to me. And that strikes me as important, or maybe more important, than because I know where I am. Other people might need to know where I am, but I really need to know when my supplies are coming in for reinforcement and so on.
That's right. And it even goes to the point of like global pre-positioning for strategic delivery of goods and that sort of thing. And it's also, the other thing that we have to be cognizant of is an awful lot of what the people in this room are relying on now is going from traditionally manned capacity to an unmanned capacity. Yep. And you have to be able to trust that thing that's telling you where it's at, because you don't have visual confirmation of it, that it's actually where it thinks it is. Yeah. Everyone's weaponizing that capability, right? If we're seeing inbound unmanned aerial assets as a threat, we'll use that same capability against those, right? And we have to be cognizant of the fact that once there's a trust issue, so to speak, yeah, right? Once you have a trust issue with that asset, you have to be very cognizant of the fact that you may not be able to put a kinetic on target when and where you think you can. Yeah. And that it's a hard problem, right? Step one in solving that problem is at least knowing that you can't trust it, yeah, right? Then you have to get after how do we go about pulling that trust back in and sort of reestablishing that dominance in terms of global position and high precision timing. Yeah,
we have less than a minute left. What are the warning signs that one cannot trust necessarily the information that one has?
It is incredibly difficult. So GPS jamming, super obvious. My GPS quit working, right? The whole point of GPS spoofing is to not erode trust on the part of the operator. You want them to trust it. And so you do things very elegantly and what we're trying to do is just at least give that early warning to say, don't trust this, right? If it's an aircraft or other platform that's moving, it very likely has fallback capabilities. If you cut off that spoofed GPS signal before it infects your inertial navigation, for instance, you can rely on that inertial nav long enough to get out of the area where you're being spoofed and then recover GPS. That's what we're trying to do, is bring that into a ConOp that says, look, here's a way to survive this, not have to wave off mission, give you that early warning, and then carry on.